I will let you go ahead and take it away, Amanda.
Okay, great. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're going to be talking about Camtasia. And I was just talking or explaining to some of our early arrivers that we're going to be looking at how Camtasia itself integrates AI to make some really awesome videos really simply. They have a more robust tool called Audiate that you can purchase, and that has some additional AI script writing and modifications, but I'll usually use ChatGPT to write my script and then use that in Camtasia. So I just wanted to make sure and clarify that. The other point that I wanted to make sure and be very transparent about, I'm going to be showing the download options and software keys. This is for Reedley has that site license, but Camtasia does offer some free trials. So those of you that are from Fresno City, Madera, or Clovis, you can give it a try and trial it and see if you like it, purchase it on your own, advocate for a site-wide license. Quite frankly, it's not that expensive. Fresno City might be a little bit more depending on your size, but even at the departmental level. So I just wanted to make sure, and you guys know that, please still stick around because I think you'll find it beneficial to advocate for its adoption on your campuses, especially if you do a lot of training videos. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show, and again, for our sister college attendees, I apologize because we're going to be looking at some really specific things just so that we have that on the recording, and I promise we won't last there long. So on the intranet for our Reedley friends, if you just type in Camtasia.
Amanda, you might want to make your screen a little bit bigger. Or
Got it. This part bigger, right? Okay, thank you. And then you can go and see the software and download keys are updated and available. And then also I have updated them in the Reedley Teachers Toolbox. If you go to the video editing, creation and editing, you can download them right there as well and get the software key. They do have the free version to download as well. So if you just Google Camtasia free version and download it, then you can also download it and follow along right now as well to be able to do a free 30-day trial. So I highly encourage you to do that as well if you don't have access to it. So I'm going to go ahead and open Camtasia up right now. If you have downloaded a previous version, I was hoping 2025 would come out in time for this webinar. 2 days ago, they released 2025. So if you are still on 2024, make sure and download 2025 because there are some brand new updates available for 2025. So make sure and you get that recent download because I'm going to be looking at those new versions as well. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. Can people see my, oops, I don't want to do
I
that. Can
can
people
see
see?
it. The little box
Okay,
is really teeny tiny though.
okay,
You
let
need to
me,
zoom in on that. But I don't know if
I have,
Mark can see it.
let me see. I need to screen share the whole thing because I'm going to be sharing the pop-out boxes. So I want to be able to screen share the whole thing. So I'm trying to figure out, it doesn't make me stretch. It doesn't allow me to stretch this. So let me see if I can.
Each of us can zoom in into, the screen itself. Like I've zoomed in so that I can see the little Camtasia box. So maybe people can try that.
That would be helpful. Would you mind sharing the screen shortcut or the keyboard shortcut for that?
It's up at the top where the 3 little dots are, and you can do the
Okay,
zoom ratio, which is what I do.
more,
I just worry about on the recording.
okay. So I want people to be able to see it. It's the downfall of having a large computer screen, I guess. Okay. Are we okay to proceed?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start out and I'm going to show you Camtasia Rev because this is my absolute favorite new feature of Camtasia. It allows me to create super fast, pretty professional looking videos within a couple of minutes, some effects, some background, some really cool things. So I'm going to open up Camtasia Rev. And it takes a second. If you are a first-time Camtasia user, because it's a more robust software, it can take a second for things to load and to pop up. So give it a second before you click on it again. That's one of the hard-learned lessons that I've had to get become okay with. So I'm going to go back to my. So you should be able to see right now the toolbar for Camtasia Rev. Is that, everybody can see that okay? Yep, okay. And then my screen area that I'm going to record, and all of these are important. And I'm going to go ahead and shut my video off because I want to use it for my recording. So the first thing that you want to take a look at is the area you want to capture. Right now I have it on region, and that's what this green box is. So I can just easily move the green box around to capture the area that I want to record. And if I want to make this smaller or bigger, I have it big so that it's viewable for all of you. I can change this. So if I'm doing a different type of recording, you see it changes to the square and it'll record in that large vertical. You have all of these different options. I'm going to do HD 1280 because that is the quality that I want it to record in. I'm going to stretch it a little bit to take on that. I'm going to turn my video on and make sure I choose the right video. I'm using my webcam. And this is one of the new features that I love is by toggling this little camera right here, I can preview what it's going to look like. And this will make a difference when you record in just a second. So I can see, okay, this is what the video is going to look like on my screen, move it around wherever I want. And that'll make sense in just a second. But that's the preview. So you can see what it looks like all framed up. I have my microphone, make sure that my microphone is correct. It's doing not the correct microphone. I want it to do my earbuds. And then system audio. If you don't have anything that you're wanting to record on your computer, so if you don't want to record the beep boops bops of your computer, then turn the system audio off. If you're planning on playing a video and recording a video during your present or whatever your screen recording, make sure you have that on. And I had some background music that I was going to play because I want you to be able to hear what it does. So let me just get this on because that's important when we are going to look at it in just a second. All right. So now I'm going to do just a quick test run. Make sure that I have all of my preferences on. I like having the countdown recorder on. Most of these will default on, so just make sure and double check it before you record. So it does the countdown, and I'm going to turn some white noise on in the background so that you guys can hear some really cool AI editing. Thought I had it up, but I turned it off. Let's see, my background music. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start my white noise. So you can pretend like I'm in traffic, and we're going to do a recording really quick. So this is the Reedley College Teachers Toolbox. You can click on each one of these elements to find all of the different tools that you need within the Reedley College Teachers Toolbox. You can see the alphabetical index as well. All right. So I've done my recording. You guys all heard that crazy background noise. If you've ever done a video and you have dogs barking, kids yelling, people knocking, all those fun things, you're going to be amazed at what it does for the background removal. It takes a couple of minutes to generate. You can see that it will lag a little bit because I'm watching my video lag as it's processing. So give it just a second. Any questions so far? Lori, are you monitoring the chat or should I take a look at that?
I am.
Okay, thank
We're all
you.
fine so far. And if anyone has a question, wants to put it in the chat, I will interrupt Amanda.
All right. So now it's opening up Camtasia. I'm waiting for it to open up the Rev editor. Okay. So now we have our Rev editor right here. And you can see it's taken my video and applied some pretty cool filters and effects to it. So the first thing I want to look at is the size that I want it to be rendered inappropriate. If I'm recording something for social media, then I want to have it the vertical or the square. I just want the normal recording size. Next, I can do layout, and I highly encourage going through each and every one of these layouts and experimenting with them, change them up for each video. I do weekly announcements in my online class, and I love changing it around to a different layout. It makes me look super fancy and then I do a whole bunch of editing, and I'm really not. So I can go through and change these layouts, and you can see it automatically applies all of these different background effects with each different layout that I do. Trying to make this big so everybody can see it. Can everybody see this moderately okay?
Yeah, I have a question, Amanda. So when you're like, when I make videos for my online classes, I use Zoom and I go in and I share the screen and do it that way. Are you making all of your videos with Camtasia?
I
Or
do
some?
a combination between Panopto and Camtasia, but really a lot of them I've gone to Camtasia Rev because I can do these fun things and I look super fancy with very little effort. And I'll show you for those on the call who have Panopto, how you can export them directly into Panopto from Rev, or just download the MP4 for those that have Camtasia Studio, or if you want to put them in YouTube, you can directly connect with them. So you can go through and find the background that you want, depending on what you're sharing. If I'm doing something where I want them to see more of me and this isn't as important, I can put that there. So you can go and see which format you like, change it up. So for right now, I'm going to do this option, I think. Now you can't edit any of these things within here. So I can't change where the circle is right now, but I can show you how to do that in just a second. Background. I don't want to have Fresno City red on my background. That would just be awful. So I'm going to change my background color right there. There's lots of different options you can choose down here. I like to sometimes do some fun creative ones, swirly, make it look really cool and fun. I can do some different effects as well. So you can see right now it did not default to removing my background. I can do that if I want. A lot of times it can do some crazy things, but you can give it a go and see if you want. Change it off and on. Drop shadow. So I want to do, this is my favorite new thing in 2025 is this AI noise removal. I don't think I shared my audio, so I'm going to share again and make sure my share sound is on. So I'm going to play it real quick and I'm going to turn off the AI noise removal and just listen to what it sounds like the recording previous to the AI noise removal. So this is the Reedley College Teachers Toolbox. You can click on each one of these. Can you guys hear just the white noise annoying thing in the background? It's not bad, but you can imagine dog barking, window slamming, whatever it might be in your background. So let's turn back on the AI noise removal. So this is the Reedley College Teachers Toolbox. Such an amazing difference. And you really don't know how much that white noise in the background is present and detracting until you remove it and realize, oh my goodness, that is such a clearer recording. So that has been my favorite AI integration that has in the 2025. And I'll show you how you can do that just in regular Camtasia as well. And additional filters, if you want to have some fun and have some, punchiness or whatnot, you can add any of those. And you turn each of these on just by clicking them off and on. So there's not like a filters off. Same thing with any of these. Okay, any questions about Rev so far? And now if I'm done and I love this and I'm ready for it to just add it into my class, then I can export it. You can export it directly into YouTube. You can export it as an MP4. For us at Reedley, Madeira, and Clovis, we have Panopto, so I can export it directly into my Panopto folder. So I can click Panopto. And over here, I've already signed in. If you haven't already signed in, it'll prompt you to sign in. I'm going to title this Teacher's Toolbox Intro and send it on its merry little way. A larger video is going to take some more time. Shorter video, of course, it's going to be quicker. And that's going to export directly into my Panopto folder. Again, you can export it directly into YouTube or many other options. Oh, it's thinking right now. But let's say, you know what, I really don't like where they put that little circle. There's a couple other things that I want to change. So I want to put this into Camtasia to be able to exercise some of my more robust editing options. So this is now showing me that it is in Panopto, and I can share directly from here into my Canvas class, which is what I do. So if I wanted to just finish out this process, share for those of you grab the embed code. This is literally the process I do for my class. Do an announcement. And just plug it in right there, wherever you have your, and that's the process I can do to just create a really cool, fancy announcement for my students in my class in a matter of 5 minutes. Okay, so let's go back.
I have a question about that, Amanda. When you post the announcement and the announcement gets emailed to students, does it show the link there, or does it, you know, like?
Well, they have to go, it will take them, if they click on it, it'll take them back into that
So this is the
announcement.
Reedley College Teachers Toolbox.
Oops, where
You
am I
can
playing?
click on
I can
each
hear
one
my
of
voice.
these elements to find all of the different tools that you
There we
need.
go. Where am I speaking from? To mine, the video won't play in what it's emailed. It'll just have the link back into the thing. So if you put text in there, and I'll do bullet points so that if they don't want to go look at the video, they don't have to, but it'll just have that. Liana?
So are you able to embed the video like you can with Panopto? Like, does it give you the embed code? I feel like it
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah, because
did.
that's what I just showed.
Okay,
So
okay.
not from, you're not housing it in Camtasia. So Camtasia isn't the repository. You want to put it into some place where you can grab that embed code. So you definitely either move into Panopto, YouTube, wherever it is.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Oops, shoot. Didn't mean to exit out of that. Hold, please. Okay, well, let's create another one real quick because I just exited out of that. All right, any questions while I do this one more time?
With the noise canceling, so you can do that after you do the video?
Oh yeah, yeah, because that's the cool AI part of it is you can do it directly after that. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do a quick one. Okay, do some steps here. So I can show you some cursor effects. So let's go to dashboard. This is the teacher's toolbox. Now we're being buggy. Oh, where? Let's see. Click on this, click on that, click on this. All right, so now we've got our video. And we want to edit it in Camtasia. So again, remember, this will be the most irritating part of the whole process is just the waiting time as it loads. If you have a super duper amazing computer, then you probably don't do this, but it is laggy as it loads. That's probably one of the biggest issues I have with Camtasia is that it'll slow everything down. So you just have to be patient, which it's been super beneficial to teach me how to be patient. Okay. So let's put it some fun layout. And let's go. We're going to choose to edit in Camtasia now. So I've got a short video to make it a little bit easier. Let me make it bigger. Okay. Can you see my Camtasia canvas? All right, perfect. So when I chose from Rev to export it into Camtasia, it automatically loaded everything onto my timeline down here to be able to edit it. So I wanted just to show some of the really neat features in 2024 that AI is being used in Camtasia. This is one of my favorite parts. So if you've ever watched any of the social media things out or commercials, anything now, dynamic captions are the new thing. And they're really cool and really fun. They're eye-catching. You probably don't want to use it on an hour lecture. Don't be using hour lectures anyway. But for the quicker videos, dynamic captions are a great way to have it. And AI now makes it where it's very little editing. I checked captions on this left-hand side, and then you have different options, and then the keyboard up top, and then you have different options that you can change around and choose which type of dynamic caption you can see. Banner, single line, 2-line, 3-line, all the different options. So we're going to do one where they highlight the word behind it. So I'm going to take this and I drag it directly over my audio file. Should be thinking. Okay. So here we go where we have the transcript. You can see this purple line right now. It's telling me that I have applied a dynamic content and it's being generated. If it's a longer video, it's going to be shorter. So right when I click on this purple, it shows here are the words that are in my dynamic caption. So I'll show you what that looks like when I push play here.
Do some steps here. So I can show you some cursor effects. So let's go to dashboard. This is the teacher's toolbox. Now we're being.
So you can see the dynamic captions show up right there. Oh, I did it twice. That's why it's 2 times. Just take those off. Okay. All right. Let's do this one more time. All right. Let's drag it in there. Perfect. And I just clicked the undo if you're wondering what I did. I just did the undo to remove those dynamic captions. Okay. So while that's rendering, you have the option to change a lot of the settings on the dynamic captions once it's loaded here. By hitting this properties button right there. Make sure it's that properties. Okay. I have to be patient. It's taking a second to catch up. All right, any questions so far? Okay, so let's watch the dynamic captions.
So I can show you some cursor effects. So let's go to dashboard.
I'm going to turn my video off because I keep getting low system resources affecting quality. So, oh, here it goes. Here's all my dynamic captions. That's why we're having issues. Okay. All right, there we go.
Do some steps here.
So now we can see them right here. So I highlight this. Let's go to my properties on the right-hand side. I click this A, and now we have all of our options for our dynamic captions. So if we scroll down right here, and if I click on that, Why isn't it showing me? There we go. So if I need to edit anything, and usually when I say Reedley, it's always wrong, but I didn't say Reedley this time. So let's just say I need to edit this teacher's toolbox. I'm going through the dynamic captions and I need to edit it. All that I need to do is just click on it right here. And let's be grammatically incorrect and remove that comma. And it's edited, and that's all that needs to be done to get that corrected. So if I go over here and there's some elements of the dynamic captions that I want to change, let's say, let me highlight it again. All right. I want to change the word background. I don't want it to be blue because that's a Clovis color. I want it to be more orangey so that we can have more Reedley colors here. So I changed the word background, and let's see, okay, I want to have the word opacity to be, let's see, let's do the background. Change the opacity so it stands out a little bit more. And I can change the opacity for the words that are before it. So if I want to make it so the words before the highlighted words, or sorry, after the highlighted words have more opacity. So watch this I as I toggle this down the slider, you can see the opacity change, or the words behind the word that's being highlighted if I want to change the opacity on that. So you have all of these different options to play with. Just go through and play with them. You can change the dynamic caption style right there, but you've got a neat little product right here. Now you've got the words right there on the screen. And editing them is easier. Again, if you've got a longer lecture video, it would get annoying to have that. This is more highlighting those quick announcements or just quicker videos. Okay, so the other latest element, any questions so far? Nope, good. All right. So the other latest element on the 2025 and then the 2024 updates is the cursor effect. And this is another really cool thing, especially if you're trying to demonstrate something. So I'm doing it for this in an introduction to this course type of video. But if you're trying to point things out in your course, especially if you've got diagrams or elements, or say you're annotating some words, then you want to have some different cursor effects that are being applied. Again, Camtasia likes to be a training type of video editing tool. So there's a couple of new ones: cursor shadow, cursor smoothing, cursor, and kinetic cursor. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply all of those to my video so you can see all of the different elements. To apply those, all I need to do is just drag them down into my timeline with the video, and it'll turn green to know it's on there. And as I drag each, this little properties menu on the right-hand side is going to tell me that I've applied it. So if it's not there, then I'm just going to change the properties, and you can see it right there evident. So I'm going to go and I'm going to have, see, what did I apply? Cursor shadow. So I'm going to do cursor smoothing right there, and then kinetic cursor. We'll talk about each of these as we go through. So I'm going to go, and you can see my cursor is right there. So let's go over and mess with the cursor size so we can see it a little bit better. Camtasia will default to a 225 cursor, and we're going to go ahead and make that bigger so we can see it. So it highlights us. Again, if you're wanting to draw attention to what you're highlighting, you're going to want a bigger cursor. So you can mess around and do the ratio as high as you want. Change the opacity of it. Play with that. So what you see right here, once I applied the cursor shadow, you can see it develop this little cursor shadow, and that really helps it to set it apart from the text you're trying to demonstrate. So I like now to be able to apply that cursor shadow, different types of elements as well. You can change the angle of the shadow. You see it moves as I'm clicking different parts of the square. You can make it so it's more offset. I don't know why you'd want a shadow way down there, but however much you want it to be overlapping right there, or the blur element between the of that cursor shadow. So if you don't want it to be quite so defined, you can change that. So that's the cursor shadow that's behind there. I forgot to show you can also change what the cursor is. So let's say I want it to be a pointer instead of the little finger. I can change that right in here post-production. Okay, cursor smoothing. I just totally forgot what that one does now. So we're gonna not talk about that one because I can't remember what that one does. Oh, it smooths between, sorry. When the cursor is moving, it changes how smoothly it moves. So I'm trying to get different elements where it's moving between the screen. So if I'm going between these two elements, then it changes how much of the delay is between those two elements. And it's hard to demonstrate. I should have done a better job going between two very different parts of the screen to be able to demonstrate that a little bit better. So how smooth that is between the two. You notice that I'm changing, the cursor's changing and how irritating that is. So I can easily go and I can click on each one of these cursors in the timeline down below and change it back to sorry, I'm having a lot of lag on this end. It's driving me crazy. I can only imagine how much it's driving me crazy. So change it right here up in the properties toolbar to that finger. So you can change each of those as you go through to be more consistent. All right, so let's go down to the kinetic cursor. This is one of the new elements that I think is really cool. So a kinetic cursor, it orients the cursor to point to the element that it's going to click on. So if I'm changing the tilt, go to that. The tilt of the cursor, and you can watch it change, and the intensity of that kinetic. See how it's changing to point more towards what that I am pointing to. It's a subtle change, but you can see as it goes to point to the element I'm going to be clicking on, it changes where it's pointing. Very small little changes that Camtasia has done to make it so it's more clear the element that you are going to be highlighting. Okay. Any questions about those so far? No?
So you can drag in different cursor effects and then play with all of those. Like it's not just one, you can bring in the different ones that are over on the left.
Mm-hmm. Like this right here. Oh yeah. So if I want to highlight cursor, I can do that.
Okay.
I can magnify the cursor, can do that. And each of those, if I do this little up arrow, it has each of these different things that I have highlighted. My little rolly thing on my mouse is not working, so that's why I have to go to these scroll bars, and it's making me absolutely insane. It's those little things. I've rubbed it off so it doesn't grip anymore, and you never know how much the little scroll bar. So I can change, if I want to remove the cursor highlights, I've just clicked on it, right click, and delete that element right there. I click delete. How Camtasia likes to work is you've laid the element on top of whatever it is that you're applying the element to. So if I want to change that element, right click and delete. Any questions? Now let's say, you know what? I don't like where I've done all these cool cursor effects. I really don't like where this little talking head is. So I can click on it right here and you see the box has changed around it to let me know that I've selected that, and then I can move it around. Now I highlight the box because otherwise I'm going to try and click it and I'm going to move other things around and it gets super irritating. So make sure, I'm just Control-Z to undo, make sure that what you want to move around is highlighted. So I'm going to move that right there. One of the big updates in 2025 was previously, once you've taken and moved something from Camtasia Rev and put it to edit into Camtasia, you couldn't put it back into Camtasia Rev to be able to do those really quick and easy editing. And now you can. My little toolbar. So if I go to export, oops, sorry, that's not true. If I go to media, so here is, and click on this little tab, here's the media that I've been working with. So if I right click on that and send it to import to Camtasia Rev, it's going to put it back into Camtasia Rev to edit it. Can you guys see the Camtasia Rev editor right there in front?
Yeah.
So now same thing, I can start over, and those elements that I've edited in Camtasia will stick with it, but I can do the same editing in that editing in Camtasia Rev that I had just done in regular Camtasia. Any questions about that process? Okay, all right, that was a lot of information to absorb. So I'm going to stop and see, all right, what are some of the elements that I need to rewind and do again, or any other questions that you might have. I know it wasn't as focused on AI as the description alluded to, and I apologize for that. But most of it was a lot of the new AI features are in Audiate for the script, but they've also integrated them just into Camtasia.
You just did that in the Camtasia Rev, so how do you get it to show here?
I'm not sure I understand your question. What do you mean show here?
Well, you just changed your little face in the Camtasia Rev, or like your background, but it
So
didn't.
then you would just have to, if you wanted to edit it again in Camtasia, same thing, you just edit it in Camtasia. So if I go back to, let's say I want to change this to Camtasia Rev, go and I'm going to change this and say, oh, I want to edit it again. Then I just hit this edit in Camtasia button and it puts it
Got it.
back into Camtasia.
Okay, okay.
Yep. So that's one of the big differences now, is being able to go back and forth from Camtasia Rev.
And I feel a little stupid because I've not recorded a video in Camtasia, but I missed where you actually went to Camtasia Rev to find it.
Yep, just right here in this home. So once I open up Camtasia, so let me just, I'll X out of this. Open up Camtasia again. It'll open up on the home screen. So I can either start at Camtasia Rev, or I can start with a new project, and that's where it will provide me the option to do a new recording if I wanted to just a new recording straight in Camtasia. All of these options that I just talked about, if you just go to this What's New tab, they have great videos that are even more succinct than what you saw here. So this was just to wet your whistle and say, I would like to be able to learn how to do this even better. You can go to the What's New. They always have a ton of tutorials. Every time I use Camtasia, I forget how to do something and just go into the tutorials to be able to see how to do a certain effect or whatever it is that I wanted to do. YouTube is tons of videos in there that they've made as well. All right, any questions? We got through that much quicker than I had intended, so I can go over anything new, any general questions. No? All right. Well, thank everybody for coming. If you do ever have any questions about Camtasia, feel free to reach out to me. Happy to answer. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Liana and Karen.
Thank you, Amanda. So I will go ahead and stop the recording.